Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is the 19th of May in the evening for me, and I do believe the 20th of May in the early wee small hours in an undisclosed location somewhere on planet Earth for the magical unicorn. The magical unicorn is in, I guess I'll let the magical unicorn tell you who he is as much as he wants to say, but he's involved in finance, and he taught me a lot about electronic sovereign drawing rights, distributed ledger technology, crypto, and a whole range of issues. Now, I got across to him information on Israel and its central role with technology, which is helpful for him. Together, we produced that video on January the 5th called COVID versus Trump, the forced economic collapse of America. It's an excellent video. Got 20,000 views before the channel was dumped. And I'm going to hand it over to my friend, and he's going to explain in his own terms. This is the first interview he's ever given. He's got vast experience in the financial world, and he's going to tell you exactly what's unfolding now, and he predicted it would happen for years, and it's not magic that he knows what's going on. Everyone in the industry knows to some degree what's going on. He's going to talk about ramifications for the US dollar, the Fed crypto app, negative interest rates, what that means for middle-class America, austerity forever, which is on the cards. We await to see whether that happens or not, but it's on the cards. And of course, the smart city Gulag system and the UN Agenda 2021 and Agenda 2030, and this end of the petrodollar and making the US dollar and the yuan and other major currencies all come to parity for the one world system. Okay, I will hand it over to you, my friend.
So I've been involved in financial markets 25 years. I've known it's a shell game for probably 15 years, because until you see certain crimes take place, you don't appreciate what it's all about. So I've kind of known about this 2020 reset date for 10 years. Because once I realised that things weren't as they were, I was taught at school, I thought I had to get to the bottom of things. I had to understand why. And the way I've done that is I've gone about reading contracts, reading law, reading regulations, which are very financially driven, and that led me to the point where because I knew this entire shell game that we call the financial system that we all live around had to be reset or couldn't go on forever. I knew there was an end date to it, so I looked into the contracts, looked into the regs, looked into what the think tanks were saying, and I came to these conclusions. But I didn't appreciate exactly how it was going to unfold, because no one's got a crystal ball. No one can truly appreciate the plans they have in place. You know, I'll be the first to admit, I never saw the pandemic coming. It's a masterstroke, but one that, when you look back retrospectively, it's so obvious. It's such a beautiful sort of way of conditioning people into accepting the new reality, the new normal, as they're calling it. Now, the new normal is it's all about you accepting a lower standard of living. You accepting a greater form of slavery. And this will be done financially. The system is absolutely blowing a gasket in terms of how much debt it's printing every day. Like, back in 2008, Congress almost killed itself when they had to write an $800 billion stimulus plan. Now, we're 12 years later, 11 and a half years later, they're writing $6 billion stimulus plans and not even thinking about it. This is going exponential. The debt growth is going exponential. And whenever that happens, that's the end of the system. That is the end. This is the final game. This is where they're stealing everything off the table. So, how this rolls out is very much like this. There needs to be a loss in faith in the US dollar. It's essential for the beast system to roll out. There needs to be some events to occur in order for that to happen. Now, the pandemic is just one aspect of it, and it was a brilliant aspect. I have to be honest, I never saw coming. But it does make perfect sense because it's kind of like a drill. It's a drill. It ended on the 15th of May. The reason why you can sort of come to that conclusion is because that's when all the CDC contracts expired. So it ended on the 15th of May, and they're now going to take the foot off the gas for about a month. And then I'm expecting there will be another event, and we're leading to war. And war is, it's just another way of raising your fear vibration to the level that they want to achieve. So that you're not looking at the money, you're not looking at what's important. You're just you're paralyzed. You have paralysis, and you don't know how to critically perform in a way that is best for you and your family. So, come June, I'm expecting a pretty big event. It's always difficult when you're trying to predict dates because the AI system that I believe has been running things since the 80s will adjust, and they can draw many sort of strategies off the table. But there are some things I think are written a bit in stone.
Yeah, you go into that because I agree. The data analytics is so powerful now, and the feedback mechanism so instantaneous. They can alter as required. And, we forget that there are managerial class and people who are with us and are fighting, so they are adapting. Like you say, it's tactical, it's hard to say, but go on about what you think is written in stone.
So what I believe is written in stone is that there will be war in June. And this is the second leg of the what I come to know as the structural rebalancing of the planet that was written about in. You can just read the first two pages of the preamble of Agenda 21. These guys, they don't lie. They have to write this out in order for them to get to the levels of achievement that they require. They need a structure. They need documents. They need patents. They need to inform the minions correctly. And Agenda 21 was that. I know it. And they might laugh it off as some sort of liberal dream, but they were very honest. They told you all. It's been on the internet for 30 years. You could have all read it. Agenda 21 calls for the mass reorganization of societal behaviour. And what are we experiencing right now? Just before 2021. And that's because it's not about the 21st century, it's because it's about 2021. So, where we're going with this, in terms of the financial side, is that in order for you to accept those terms and conditions, they're going to have to make you submit. They're going to have to make you accept that your lifestyle is over. It's no longer going to be one where you're going to be going to restaurants, you're going to have free will, or perceived free will that you thought you had. You're going to enjoy the element of freedom that you thought you had. It's all now about restrictions.
All right, can I just clarify something for you? That is purely out of the UN Habitat Smart Cities program. You will have these towers, and they're all over Malaysia. And I'll put pictures up now. You can see them all the time. They have 4, 5, 6 towers. They also have huge ones. Forest City near the Straits with Singapore there. It's called Forest City, but you can see them inside Kuala Lumpur itself. And they'll have 5 towers, and below that will be a shopping centre, will be a train station. you'll have gyms, and you'll have a theatre, and it'll be like a little self-contained gulag. That appears to me to be the system whereby you'll do everything from this little area and you'll be contained in that little area except on very strictly controlled outings. Would you agree that that's, well, because, well, to be honest, that's what they write in Agenda 21. It's that the UN habitat.
That is
Smart cities.
Yeah, I mean, I experience it where I'm located. I'm watching it in real time roll out, and part of the ritual stuff that is involved in all this is the fact they're making you wear a mask. It's not a mask; it's the muzzle. They want to spiritually sort of unwind you. It's an important part of the indoctrination for you to accept this lower standard of living.
Can I just ask you what you think about...
When you talk about the pandemic, I agree. I never saw the pandemic coming. I saw a viral release, but a bad one. That's why I said in the video, which we did together, use your imagination. I said they can war whatever. I didn't even think to say virus because it had been front and center. But why did they do the drill? Why give the heads up? Is it because, do you agree that there might be a coronavirus Mark II, which they want to contain perhaps to a certain segment of the population on the planet?
Okay, the pandemic drill is it's a cultural shift. It's a beta test. It's a data analysis.
So it's data analytics.
Data analytics, 100%. They want to see how you react. They already know how you're going to react because they've had the AI running for 30 years. But they just want to test, increase their testing, increase their data, increase the feedback, of all the WhatsApps, all the, they want to find out who's the guys that are smart enough that have actually understood that they're getting fucked over. It's an information grab for me, but it's also a cultural shift and also a military rollout with the 5G. That's where I am on that, and they're locking it down. They're kind of creating this sort of thing in the public where you can understand that it's actually quite normal now to be locked down because we're about to go through such a reset and such a cultural shift. There are obviously going to be people that are going to be upset about that. So they need to train the military in this very short term, as they've just been doing in the last sort of 4 months, that this is now how we behave, this is the new normal, this is this. So they're going to roll out in June. There's going to be another event. So there has to be another event now.
So it's push. Watch the data analytics. Okay, back off. Wait. Then push again. Is it like that?
Yes, and I think I agree with you that in the old days, when I say the old days, I'm talking about 6 months ago, they used to go like, push it out, like 2008, let's see how far we can take the piss. Then they'll come back, do the data analytics. They're now push, pull back a yard, push. This is now all on. People need to appreciate how full on this all is now. It's no longer a case where they're going to give you a moment. They don't have time. By their own documents, they don't have time.
So you don't believe there's any organic pushback at all from that managerial class, particularly in the...
Yes, no, I do. I do believe there is. But it's my personal belief, and why I am a bit more of a negative person on it than you are, is that they've already thought about that. They already know how the managerial class is going to work. They've already bagged and tagged who they're going to remove, who's going to be subservient, who's willing to sell their soul.
So you think really the big events, they already know the peasants are stupid and going to accept a lot of stuff. We're powerless. We may be switched on, but we're fairly powerless. So you think, I remember you saying that was the point of the large cataclysm. They have to deal with that managerial class who have some power. So it has to be big. Was that correct? If I read you correctly?
Yes, it has to. It has to be awe-inspiring. But it has to come on the back of total, like, your whole mindset has changed. So they can almost download this mass trauma event into your mind. So when you're locked down during the next fall or the next season of the next pandemic, You're all going to be. What are you doing? You're stuck in watching TV. It's the greatest hypnotic tool in the world. You know, if everyone switched off their TV, the world's problems would probably go away.
What, no Monty
almost
Python?
overnight.
No Life of Brian.
Well, that was the trap.
Come on, mate. No Office. The Office. David Brent. Come on, mate.
That's
Again,
bad.
you've got to have a little bit of genius in there to entice people. You know, certain people of certain thinking, such as myself. I love The Office. You know, I love Monty Python. I love all these things are absolute quality. But if you just look at Netflix nowadays, absolute filth. Anyway, getting back to the point. In order for you to accept this level of slavery that is coming down the pike to you, they're going to have to bankrupt you. They're going to make you... Look what's happened. They've already started the process. This is what is upfront, real and personal. They have bankrupted so many people, and they've given you a rationale, which people are scratching their head going, this doesn't make no fucking sense. This does not make... And this is not in line with something that is rational. And people are waking up, even, like, you know, people are waking up to that. So this is why the requirement on the timeline is for more events, which is why war is inevitable, and why the final coup de grace, which we've all been teed up for, in my opinion, is a fake environmental act of terrorism upon America, which gives everyone the rationale to accept a massive, massive pay cut in terms of their wealth. We go deep negative rates, which again, over time, crushes wealth.
Please go into that in detail now.
Okay, so negative rates. We've only ever lived in the world of positive rates. You cannot have a system of negative rates, which is a system which repays all the positive rate debt without having it all digital, because people would just walk up to the bank, take their money out, and say, "I'm not participating in this form of slavery." So that's why we're now, as we come to negative rates, we're seeing the transition into this beast system, and it must be digital, because they need to track and trace everything. Full audit of all monies in the world, and there needs to be. Hold on, give me a sec, mate. So I lost my train of thought on something. Where am I, Brandon? Negative rates.
Yes, Steve, please go into negative rates and the ramifications for that vast middle class, and how the crypto is going to lock in. That means you can't get your money out. Like if it was negative rates, naturally you go, well, I'm pulling my money out of the bank. I'm going to put it in Bitcoin, or I'm going to put it under the mattress. So this is a reason for the crypto. So explain the negative rates and the impact this is going to have on the...
Okay, so the negative rates can only be achieved with a cashless society, which is why you're seeing the unveiling of digital currency, which will all be, as you say, the Fed app, the Fed coin app, and it will be attached to your social credit score. You will have a universal income, which will be determined upon your credit score. You're seeing already in America, the UK, across, they're rolling out incrementally across the world free handouts from central government. So there's nothing free about it. And that currency that you're being given is going to be subject to negative rates. And over time, as they explain to you how the environment is going to decay, the middle class is going to be wiped out. Over. Not even close to being anywhere near it ever was. It's done. There is only going to be two classes of people. There will be the elite that are hiding their wealth within certain coins, cryptocurrency coins, which won't be subject to negative rates.
So you
and
agree
there
that
will be
something like Bitcoin is going to go through the roof?
No, well, Bitcoin, I have this is speculative, but I think strategically, Bitcoin is the darling of the market. Bitcoin is the one that is the coin that us useful idiots built up as the savior of the planet, like for the last 10 years. Now, Bitcoin itself is not quick enough, and it's not doesn't have the tech for retail use. And retail use, what I mean is man on the street, people like us when we want to buy vegetables at groceries or whatnot. It's not quick enough. It never was meant to be used like that. It was only going to be a unit of trade. It's the stuff that's going to buy oil. It's the stuff that's going to buy, factories. It's big, chunky exchange stuff. And it was never meant for us. It's going to be part of the secondary wholesale system.
Is it possible to be confiscated like gold was confiscated in the 30s?
Yes, that's my speculation, is that they won't do it in a bad way. They'll do it in a way that seems like it's being fair. Please, we need this for the new system. We have to save the planet.
Do you remember watching the video I did recently where you see Alex Jones talking about the release of technology? Now, I've always believed they're going to go into that warehouse. I mean, I know they have highly advanced technology. I didn't read it on the internet. You can work it out yourself. My darling extrapolation point for that is the SR-71 Blackbird or Habu, the Mach 3.4 cruise, all titanium, turbo ramjet. It's virtually a spaceship, 100,000 foot plus ceiling, all titanium, 1963. Over 50 years ago, that thing was flying. Now, when you know aerospace engineering and technology at an amateur level like I do, if they can do that in 1963, what do they got now? And about obviously there's a lot of charlatans with free energy devices, I know, but the principles are sound. They can draw energy from the vacuum. It's been done 1,000 times. I've seen carburetors doing 100 miles to the gallon. I've seen them running. And that's just basic stuff. So we know they've got pretty advanced stuff out there. So I presume releasing some toys, I urge people to read the book The Hunt for Zero Point by Nick Cook, the aviation editor for Jones Defence Weekly. Now, it could be a plant of sorts, but I read that back in 2005 where they talk about electrogravitics and anti-gravity and all sorts of experiments they were doing for years on all sorts of things. And the advanced technologies they've stashed away. Now, with that, there has to be a releasing of toys. There has to be some carrot in there amongst the sticks.
I totally agree. To me, it makes total strategic sense for them to have withheld and stifled all forms of technology. Very similar to MIT, I believe, having the internet in 1952, but yet we only received it in mid-1980s.
Well, look, can I put up the video now? I'll edit it in where this is from my favourite mainstream documentary maker, Adam Curtis from the BBC, and it's called All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace, about Ayn Rand, the libertarian movement, Silicon Valley. And in 1970, they've got virtually Skype, doing a video conferencing call with his keyboard and his mouse. This is 1970. Here we go. We'll watch it now.
And there was another group of visionaries in California who believed that the communes were only a prototype for a self-organizing society built on a global scale. They were the engineers who were inventing the new computer technologies on the West Coast. And the way that they were going to develop these technologies would be shaped by this vision of a natural order that combined humans and machines. At the end of 1968, a group of computer pioneers took a conscious decision. They would give up developing large mainframes. Instead, they would create a way of linking small, personal computers in networks.
Remain seated when I get introduced, and the fact that I'm going to come to you mostly through this medium here for the rest of the show.
And in a dramatic demonstration, they showed how this could be done. It included all the necessary elements, even the computer mouse.
You can see the devices that I'm using. I use 3, and they're not all standard. You have a pointing device called a mouse, a standard keyboard, and a special key set we have here. Now, computer, do the automatic switching that will bring in a camera. Hi, Bill. That's great. Now we're connected audio. You can see my work. You can point at it. And I can see your face, and we can talk.
These pioneers believed that in the future, computer networks would allow you to create the very kind of society that was being developed in the communes, but on a global scale. Everyone could be free as individuals, not dominated any longer by old hierarchies or controlled politically. Instead, they would be linked together in a global system that would find its own natural order. It would do it through the feedback of information between millions of people on their personal computers. The demonstration was filmed by one of the prophets of this vision. He was a leader of the commune movement called Stuart Brand.
They felt like computers had liberated them, and they were going to use computers, they were going to enable computers to liberate society, civilization, everybody.
I can accept file control, and I've already accepted file referencing.
That computers were going to save the world, and these guys were going to make sure they could. It was going to be a power to the people in a very direct sense. And that was an early iteration of the internet and of Google and all of that. That this was a vast network that was self-correcting.
By the late 1960s, what had happened was that our modern idea of nature, the ecosystem, and cybernetic theories about computers had fused together. Out of it had come an epic new vision of how to manage the world without the old corruption of power. It was a vision that seemed to be different from all past political attempts to change the world, because it was based on the natural order. In 1967, a young writer called Richard Brautigan crystallized this. One morning he walked through the streets of San Francisco, handing out a manifesto. It described a future world held in a balanced equilibrium by the fusion of nature and computers. It was called All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace.
I like to think, and the sooner the better, of a cybernetic meadow where mammals and computers live together in mutually programming harmony like pure water touching clear sky. I like to think, right now please, of a cybernetic forest filled with pines and electronics where deer stroll peacefully past computers as if they were flowers with spinning blossoms. I like to think, it has to be, of a cybernetic ecology where we are free of our labors and joined back to nature, returned to our mammal brothers and sisters, and all watched over by machines of loving grace.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
How dare you!
So yeah, I'm totally on board with that. I do believe that there is a strategic policy to strain true technologies. It makes total sense. You know, it must be borne out by the military-industrial complex first. They must have control of it first, and then it gets rolled out gently to us as a positive. When actually on society, it can be used as a positive, but many times it's used as a negative.
Yeah, that's where we slightly differ. I still have a faith that basic human nature, there's no need for all this skullduggery. It's a bit like Professor Carol Quigley says, well, this is a good idea. Why do you need to be so secretive? It just, and I agree to a point. It's just like, you know, when you raise someone's standard of living, if you put them in a nice place and educate the women, then naturally with robots and we can look after the elderly and we can sit down and have a conversation over the next 100 years. But they don't seem to want to do that. Well, not yet. But on that point, on that point of the military-industrial complex, they're shifting that over now to the space agencies. That you've now got NASA literally joined at the hip via legislation, as is most of the American high technology sector, military and civilian, under the Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation, the BIRD, the BSF, the Binational Science Foundation, the BARD, the BARD, the Binational Agricultural Research and Development Foundation, and many other ones we haven't seen, all instigated by Henry Kissinger. I mean, everywhere I look, there's freaking Rothschild's right-hand man, Henry Kissinger, the pedo. How someone has not sent him down some stairs or thrown him over the edge of a cruise ship in his wheelchair, I do not know.
But anyway,
It baffles me.
Baffles. And like you said, remember we talked, people have said they've seen Rothschild wandering, Lord Jacob Rothschild himself, Dracula himself, wandering around the streets of London with a couple of bodyguards, happy as can be.
It's just a blunt spade. Just use a blunt spade.
I mean, for God's sake, couldn't they just throw a pencil at him with a sharpened end?
Well, it's the same with like Bill Gates. I don't look at, you get given these brands, these names, these people who are revered and put up there, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Obama, Trump, whatever. It's just Rothschilds.
yeah,
They're all shell companies.
That's pretty much it. It's just Rothschild. That's why, man.
It is, like you say, it's the East India Company.
It is. It's pure East India Trading Company when they combined with Queen Victoria and they got together and said, let's do it together.
The Rockefellers, they knew if they didn't behave themselves, the British would come over here and take away their Standard Oil and do and fuck them up. It's all one family, but with decompartmentalized structures, families.
Highly sophisticated but simple as well. It's just the constant application of pressure. As someone said, Brendan, the trouble with you is you run in thinking I'll smash through this wall in one almighty effort, and it's not. The best way to do things is quietly through the constant application of pressure, and that's what they've done over hundreds and hundreds of years.
They have, and unlike us, they have unlimited money.
Well, now they have unlimited money, last couple of 100 years. Unlimited.
and you can buy people up. It's easy.
You and I could take over the world when you've got that. Because
Of course.
Yes,
It's
have a good narrative, a good bit of money and a good narrative. Look, we have to do this. It's in their best interest. An asteroid's coming, the Martians are coming. Whatever story you want to make up.
But that's why a lot of these, I believe, a lot of these controlled opposition, and let's be honest, YouTube is 99% of that.
Literally.
I speculate they would have direct links and receive funding from most of the foundations on the planet.
Yeah,
the big foundations.
Look, the people approach me constantly, with money, and maybe you could do this or do that differently, Brendan. Now, I can't say for sure, but it's pretty clear they're running around, and it doesn't take much to buy off most of these internet warriors. I mean, I just watched James Corbett promoted by Alex Jones. I'm always fascinated by the cross-promotion. And there's James Corbett doing cutting-edge research on what? Bill Gates. There's 5 billion videos on Bill Gates. Yeah, we know, but no one's talking about Microsoft in Israel and the ramifications of the world's #1 operating system in the corporate world, the individual world, the educational world, in the White House, the Pentagon, Active Directory, Windows management, instrumentation, the cloud, the Pentagon. Imagine not one of these big time players will talk about it. If anyone wanted evidence, if you ever wanted absolute proof how controlled they are, there you have it.
Yeah, totally agree. It's their model is about infotainment fear porn, and the reason why they're rolling out so hard right now is because there's a new market that's just opened up, and it's called the COVID-19 denier market. Because every time they roll out a false flag where someone in the street turns around and go, this don't make no fucking sense. Let me check the internet. So now they're going to roll hard with this. There'll be a lot of these guys cross marketing each other, subtly feeding each other. I'm seeing it. Literally anyone with over 50,000 subscribers, I am instantly suspect of. I personally would prefer to listen to someone who's got 2,000 subscribers that actually I can see the soul in the backs of his eyes than someone who's got 500,000 subscribers. The fact that there's 500,000 subscribers there is truly worrying. You just know it's food for the masses.
Oh, look,
and unfortunately,
I had 22,000 subscribers. I believe they're all fake. I couldn't get $70 a week. I couldn't get $70 a week with 22,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it is a bit of a game, but you don't know with YouTube. The responses or the reaction they want to show. It's all AI driven, in my opinion. It's all an algorithm, and you just got to use it for what it is as long as you can. One other thing that I would like to just touch on, which it touches on this point itself. That recently, like the UK and the US are, in my opinion, are the two great empires of the last century. And they've been dismantled. Their societies have been dismantled right now. Now, recently, we've just had the Trace Act passed, and I think it's called the Corona 2020 Act passed. These two acts are deliberately designed to foment strife between the policy officers, the police officers, and the military, and the civilian population. They are. They have given people the law is giving them right to go into homes, or what they consider right, to go into homes and take children away.
I'd like to see that.
Now,
I'd like to see that.
I know. Look, and I know that it sounds preposterous, but how many things do we think are preposterous now that down the road get implemented?
Well, I agree, but there's going to be a lot of dead cops and dead healthcare workers if they try that.
That's the point. That is the point. That's what they want to achieve. They want dead. They want civil war in these, not necessarily a full-out civil war, but they want a societal destruct. And these laws are deliberately designed to manufacture that outcome.
I don't know. I just can't seem... The average copper is just going to go, well, I'm not going to do that. And what's more, I might get killed. I mean, as Solzhenitsyn said, oh, how we burned in the camps, wishing we'd met them in the stairwells with knives and picks. I mean, taking people's kids, and particularly with a well-armed United States, I just can't see it happening. I just can't see it. And the average copper's going to go, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no, I want to believe that's true. I believe that's true right now. But as these laws that are put into place, like the Patriot Act wasn't put into place necessarily for 2001. Yeah, it was put into place for right now.
Yeah, they're still building on it, still adding bits and pieces.
Yep, and they incrementally will. And the Patriot Act was not for use really for this enactment in 2001. It's right now. The Patriot Act is relevant right now because right now people are having their what they believe are their God-given rights taken away. And they have guns in America. And so what do the police now? They've had almost 20 years of believing that the Patriot Act is a normal thing.
And they've also had
lots of training in Iraq and Afghanistan in house-to-house urban warfare too.
Yeah, and then their top brass all get trained in Israel anyway. How to treat people in a subhuman way. To effectively.
Let's wind it up. I don't want to scare people too much, but I think the truth is the truth. I think the theory's there. I think we know what they'd like to do. Are they going to be able to do it? I don't know. The bottom line is, what are people going to do? Curl up and die? So whether it's good or bad, just damn well fight. Act according to conscience. Be smart. But above all, form human face-to-face relationships with your healthcare workers, with your school teachers.
How can you do that, mate, with a fucking mask?
Well, they're already doing it. Look at the US, the coppers. And I think we're to the point now where the psychological warfare is so great. When I see coppers saying, okay, everyone, we're not arresting you, do whatever you like, I want to cheer and say, go on the coppers. And then I go, wait a minute, are they crisis actors? Is this fake?
I mean, the psychological warfare is so bad.
I don't even know what to believe anymore. And people have said, and I think it was Woolsey said the CIA, well, no, we'll run because no one will believe anything. Are you there, magical unicorn? Piers, we've lost him. Ladies and gents, anyway, let's wind it up now. That was a good chat, and look, just carry on. I got nothing more to say. Carry on. You know what to do. Talk again soon. Ciao for now.